Hello love bugs, today I come to you with a slightly different kind of video. A video essay on the topic of female hysteria, whilst I draw and illustrate an image of myself that kind of expresses my emotions from the past and slightly currently. I'm going to go off of the bat and add a trigger warning here for abuse, assault, rape, death, suicide and substance abuse. I do not go into depth about most of these things and only mention the words briefly, but still wish to put a warning in case. Firstly, I'm going to explain what female hysteria is. Wikipedia describes it as this. Female hysteria was once a common medical diagnosis for women, which was described as exhibiting a wide array of symptoms including anxiety, shortness of breath, fainting, nervousness, sexual desire, insomnia, fluid retention, heaviness in the abdomen, irritability, loss of appetite for food or sex, paradoxically, sexually forward behavior, and a tendency to cause trouble for others. It is no longer recognized by medical authorities as a medical disorder. Its diagnosis and treatment were routine for hundreds of years in Western Europe. Straight away, you can see that even the diagnosis of female hysteria derived from a misogynistic point of view. When a woman was emotional, horny, or hormonal, that was astounding, groundbreaking, and deemed hysteria. Women were not allowed to be humans. I believe, however, that nowadays we have a more narrow view of what female hysteria actually is. The reason I wish to speak about it in the first place was because I had been on the end of emotional abuse from many men, and through delving into the comfort of my female friends, I had had many experiences far worse than my own. However, I want to state immediately that I am not claiming men are the main cause of female hysteria, that many things such as death, loss, mental health issues, illness, natural life events, and more are some of the many possible causes. However, I will be touching upon the misogyny, sexism, and the way that men, as poetically as I can say, add fuel to fire. I'd like to first talk about the mass female hysteria in society with subjects such as beauty standards. A little while ago, Bella Hadid came out saying that she regrets getting plastic surgery on her nose, as she wishes she could appreciate the notes her ancestors carried and further gave her. I gained a mass amount of respect for Hadid after this, as plastic surgery had been pressurized onto women from the 60s to modern day, and many young impressionable girls look up to her. Although the practice of plastic surgery has evolved into more natural looks like Bella Hadid, older well-known people have been completely transformed and bashed into the depths of the earth for changing their faces with names such as Goldie Hawn, Jennifer Aniston, Jane Fonda, and Courtney Cox. Women are constantly at a loss. If they do something, they're wrong. If they don't, they're wrong. People such as Courtney Cox and even Kylie Jenner have come out afterwards and expressed regret for the work they had done. In no way am I shaming those that wish to get it. I too have looked at my nose and thought about surgery, but it is about the initial idea that women need to change their faces, need to be prettier, or need to get rid of parts of themselves. I think it will come as no surprise that the persons who have invented and or performed the first rhinoplasties or plastic surgery such as breast enlargement were indeed men. Although female hysteria was once linked to sexual desire, it now revolves around genuine hysteria, mass hysteria, and linked far more to mental health issues than sex. Now moving on to women as individuals. How many women do you know that have experienced emotional abuse, manipulation, physical abuse, hard breakups? A friend who is older than me and is now married and has children once told me that at my age, 19, she went through such a hard breakup that her mother considered taking her to a mental health ward. This is not an individual experience to her, it is one that many women go through. Women are put through mental torment and further called or named crazy when reacting in a rational way or feeling a rational emotion towards their experience. But how can we be blamed? Last year, a report exposed that in England and Wales there were 52,210 rapes recorded and only 843 were charged, a rate of 1.6%. 52,000 is the number recorded, but most people that experience assault do not even report it for this exact reason. Women live naturally now in fear. Hysteria alone is defined as psychological stress. There is stress for women when going out, when in the dark, when alone, when around men, when around people, when around strangers, when trying to come out with their stories, when telling the truth, when going through the process of trials, when witnessing their assaulters walking free with no charge. Women have been forced to now live in hysteria. And yes, that is an extreme example, so a slightly smaller one would be the infamous zodiac sign judges. If you are a woman or identify as a female, here is a question for you. How many times have you spoken about something you like and been met with judgment? Just the other day, my friend told me, who is not even a big believer of zodiac signs, that she once asked a group of boys their zodiac signs and was met with a collective, long, insufferable groan. You like to read, you're boring. You like movies, you're weird. You game, you try too hard. You like maths, who forced you into it? You like to paint, you'll get nowhere in life. So far, we've established that female hysteria is a daily, individual and collective experience, deriving from harsh and unrealistic beauty standards, abuse, assault, and collective judgment. I mean, you know something's wrong with the world when you're met with a shock and horror after admitting a liking for the stars as if you've just admitted you're a serial killer. I like to end this essay on female hysteria in media. I'm happy to say many women have gone to make films, music, or write books revolving around the topic as a means to empower themselves and others, to take the reins on their own life and emotions and experiences, giving examples such as Olivia Rodrigo and Taylor Swift, who, as we know, was deemed insane and obsessive for many years within her career. However, I wanted to show you that just how common the subject is, as it's something we don't even notice. This year alone, I have watched 115 movies by April 22nd. 74 of these movies discuss some form of, quote, symptom, quote, of female hysteria. Movies of which are randomly chosen to be watched and some of which use female hysteria even just as a side plot. One of the most famous female hysteria-based movies would be Gone Girl, which is now deemed iconic. It was a rare sight and always has been to see a woman retaliating in an extreme way to the emotional abuse of a man, and it be praised, even ironically or as a joke. Collectively, we have come to the understanding that our feelings, experiences, and lives are not hysteria but natural and normal, but we have more recently taken the expression and created it as our own. To the women watching, I obviously do not recommend faking your death and blaming your husband, but I do recommend watching things like Leah's Field Notes here on YouTube, who has a whole series of how she is healing from her hardest breakup, which was one of our catalysts for female hysteria earlier noted. It is beautiful to watch a woman be so in touch with herself and her sadness and her experiences. To the men watching, no one is assuming that you do these things purely because you are a man. However, if you realize that you do something as seemingly small as groaning once a woman tells you she enjoys something like astrology, try to step back and see your participation in female hysteria. It is a very hopeful mindset to believe that men can improve to such an extent where women are no longer feeling fearful for their lives. But if you can see, even if you are a woman, where we go wrong with judging with our actions or words or participation in pushing forward toxic beauty standards, for example, hopefully we can all improve ourselves and make things such as mental illness, recovery, and grief far more easier for everyone collectively. In no way do I wish to dismiss male mental health. Their suicide rates are higher than women's, and so are their substance abuse rates and much more. However, I wish to speak on the subject particularly as I identify as a woman and know my audience is predominantly female, and because I have not seen a lot of people touch on it. If you'd like me to touch on other things, let me know, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching. I love you guys, and I hope you enjoy this drawing as much as I do. Mwah.